Mother's Day. Beautiful day on so many levels. Difficult day on so many levels. I always start out this Mother's Day message by acknowledging the best of moms. Acknowledging those of you who are moms in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like. Because we can call ourselves moms for so many different reasons. Some of you men call yourselves moms. I've never had any biological children, but I consider myself a mom because I have helped raise a whole lot of kids, furry and not furry. Hundreds and hundreds of dance students who look to me that way, even you. Sometimes I feel like I'm a mom. I'm a spiritual mom. And so there's that place in me that wants to honor all of you who are moms. And so I do. I bless you. Thank you for being a mom. I also, all of us who had moms. Anybody in here didn't have one? And yet on the other hand, it's tricky because some of you didn't have good mom experiences. Some of you didn't have the Norman Rockwell pictures of a mom. Some of you lost your moms way too young. And you grieve. Some of you didn't know a biological mom, but you know an adoptive mom. It's a different kind of mom. There's so many things, and I'm sure you can think of some of your own. So it's a little bit tricky. So for those of you who may be feeling grief, or sadness, or like I didn't have that kind of a mom, just bless us through all of our experiences. Those of you who may judge yourself, those of you who are moms who have raised children, if you have any judgments about the job you did, let it go. Time to let it go. And just love yourself and bless yourself. No matter what your mom experience is, bless it. Bless it. That's why I say it's tricky. That's the only part that's tricky. Because I know there's a lot of emotions. I don't know any other word that triggers more emotion than the word mom. So whatever it is, just be with it. I think that one of the greatest gifts moms have to give is love. My mom gave that to me. I'm one of the blessed ones who grew up with a lot of love. I grew up with a lot of discipline also, but I also knew, no matter what, that I was loved. That is one of the absolute greatest gifts, but it's certainly not limited to just mothers. So it's that love that I want to tap into today more than anything else, is the love that we often attribute to motherhood, to that nurturing, giving quality of love. That's God's love. That's God's love. God's love is an unconditional source. I like to say G-O-D sometimes. I say it's the givingness of the divine. So that tells me, first of all, it's way beyond any kind of an emotional thing. It's the source of all things. Love is more than just an emotion, because we know our emotions can come and go. Yes? Sometimes we might feel the most incredible love towards a person or towards an animal, or for no reason at all, it just wells up in us and we feel really loving. Other times it's like, where did it go? Where did it go? How come I'm not feeling it right now? I think everybody, if you're honest, has that experience of how you feel or not with that feeling of love. But what I'm talking about is the thing that is beyond any emotion or any feeling when we say God's love. So again, I'm not teaching it from the point of view that there's some thing out there that loves you. And I know that's how it's taught in a lot of religious ideas, is that there's a man or a woman or a person or a being outside of us who loves us. But if that's the kind of God love is, if that's the kind of love God is, then the human thing I talked about, where we feel it or don't feel it, could be in play. And a lot of religions do teach that. God might love you, and God might be mad at you. God might give you the goodies, God might not give you the goodies. Whatever those goodies might be. That's the human stuff. Our humanness has us give it or withhold it. If that's the kind of God that people believe in, I want nothing to do with that kind of God. Because a God that might give me the goodies or might love me if I'm good enough today, or the God that might withhold that, I want nothing to do with that kind of a God. So for me, for this philosophy, when we say God is love, it's a much bigger concept. And I ask you to lift yourself as high into that as you can. The idea that the givingness of the divine, there is one source that has already given all its love all the time, and it's inexhaustible. That's the kind of love we're talking about when we say, God is love. It's the unconditional power that we are created out of. The unconditional power that is greater than we are, that is also surrounding us and enjoying us. Unfortunately, a lot of human beings haven't experienced that kind of love because they've experienced conditions around love. Somehow it had to be earned. Those of you who grew up in a childhood home where love was not freely given, you know what I'm talking about. You had to earn it some way. That's a human experience. Some people have the experience of being so badly hurt by someone that they love that they've completely closed their heart off because it feels way too vulnerable to let that love in. Humans have experienced all kind of limitations around love. The place where people sometimes feel violated. And it's really understandable that having felt so violated or so hurt by love that we would close it down. I get that on the very human level. And yet on the spiritual growth level, anytime we're closed off, that love cannot flow freely in or freely out. It's stuck. You can't have it one way without the other way. So I know sometimes it feels like I'm not going to dare to love you until I know for sure you love me. But if I'm waiting to give my love until I know for sure you love me, closed is closed, whether it's going in or going out. In order for love to flow freely, we have to open up to it. And on the human level, that can feel very, very vulnerable. But at the God level, there's nothing to it. It's the easiest thing. It's the most natural thing to open our hearts. I have a colleague who works a lot with people who, she works with families around death and dying. And a lot of times she's working with the people after their loved one has died. And she refers to it as people's broken open heart. Their broken open heart. So whether it's a loss of a loved one or whether it's a deep wound from love, the same principle applies. When our heart gets broken, what do we do with it? Do we go broken, shut? Or do we go broken, I'm going to just let more happen? I'm going to dare to love again. I'm going to leave my heart wide open. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to cry. I'm going to grieve. I'm going to love again. Broken open. While scary on some human levels, it's that place that the Spirit can be known in us in a deeper way when we allow it to happen. Allow it to freely open. Opening ourselves to love is something that's not just a one-time thing, is it? It's a daily thing. Anna gave us some beautiful reminders from 1 Corinthians and from Ernest Holmes about love. Every single day it's a choice. When I do a wedding for people, I tell them real love is not just whenever you feel like it. It's a choice you make every day. It's a choice we make every day. I'm going to get up this morning and I'm going to start with loving me. I'm going to love others. I'm going to love my understanding of whatever God is. I'm going to take Ernest Holmes' words and I'm going to learn to love other people. Parentheses. Ernest Holmes always says, learn to love everybody. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to like everybody. They don't have to be the same thing. There's some people that I may not want to be around, but I can still love them as a child of God. I can love them if my heart's open. When my heart's open, it's easy to love anybody, even the people I don't really want to be around. So you can say, I'm going to learn to love every day because it's that bigger unconditional givingness of the divine that I'm going to allow through. It's not the human, oh, I don't like what you said. I don't like what you did. I don't like when you treated me. It's not that. It's that place we're lifting to. A place in us that we know every single day, I'm going to open to this love because when I know God's love is bigger than anything we can even imagine. Our human limitations sometimes having us feeling a finite idea of what love is. But the love of the divine is so big and so vast and so infinite. There's enough for everybody. There's enough for everybody every single day. And it's bigger than any notion we even have. So whatever we think love is, it's more than that. It's more than that. So every single moment, every single day, I have the chance to open up to that big love. In Richer Living, which is a book by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, who was one of the early ministers in our movement, I've chosen a couple of beautiful readings.